What is going on, everybody? It is Alex coming back at you with another video, and today we're going to be doing round 3 of 4 of this mock draft. So if you guys are new to the channel, feel free to check out rounds 1 and 2 first. I think that might make it a little bit more fun, but let's kick into this. Of course, feel free to join the community. Links down in the description. Of course, like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell because I make content every single day that I can. So round 3, let's kick it off. Apparently, if you click on a team, you get to see which picks they made, which I don't think that's true. So sorry for being catfished, guys. But, with the Jaguars sitting here, we have gotten edge as well as offensive tackle. We can go and look exactly. I think it's Kingsley as well as Evan Neal, who's my #1 player in the draft. So pretty happy with what we've done so far. I like that. Let's see who else is on the board right now. Let's get a quick look. We still got 2 quarterbacks on the board. I think that's fine. I don't think there's much need for movement in terms of that, but you got some pretty good players still. So again, you got those 2 quarterbacks, which I still have Bailey Zapp above him, and I think I have Brock Purdy above him as well. But again, for the right scheme, again, we got to make this a little bit realistic. We're not going to do that. But looking at wide receivers, not much, guys. We're pretty low on that. Tight ends seem to be the real deal at the moment. Right now, Isaiah Likely, my tight end 1, and kind of reluctantly, I had Sam Laporta as my tight end 1 tight end 2 for a minute. But again, still pretty solid value, especially for a team like this one. You could go Jamari Sawyer and use him at other positions in the offensive line. It wouldn't be a bad move at all. Jalen Petrie, solid slot corner, safety. Marcus Jones, another really solid option on the board. We got some good linebackers, some more good edge players, and we have some solid interior defensive linemen. Fedarian Mathis, unfortunately, got injured in that championship game. So me pushing him down a little bit because if you're not super young and you also are coming off an injury in your last game, not that big of a fan. But I do know the Jags need a receiving weapon. I usually wait to do this to the next pick, but no longer Isaiah Likely out of Coastal. I have some issues with him. He's not a perfect tight end in my eyes, but he definitely does do some things very well. So I do like that Isaiah Likely out of Coastal. It's going to be a very good weapon to use in the slot. He does play a lot of receiver reps, and he's fast enough for his size to compete at the NFL at that level. So number 66 for the Lions, I know we got Aidan Hutchinson, George Pickens, and then we also got Devin Lloyd. So having a pretty damn solid draft so far. I think a safety wouldn't be a bad idea here with Nick Cross, who's going to be more of a strong safety for us. We could wait a little bit for it because, again, I do know it's a huge need, but you want to find the best guy on this roster. I think bolstering the secondary wouldn't be a bad idea. Marcus Jones can play literally anywhere in your secondary. He's a really fun option, too. Again, we could go QB here. Carson Strong is here, and he has a cannon for an arm. Honestly, with Jared Goff, you haven't had a very mobile quarterback in a long time. We're going to go with that, but I want to give a shout out to Marcus Jones because that guy's really damn good. Like, really good. Number 67 for the Giants. Unfortunately, we've been drafting thinking, well, this is a Giants guy. I was talking to our former co-host, former co-host a year and a half ago. I was like, dude, we don't actually know who is a Giant anymore because we've been used to the Gettleman way of drafting, right? So we could see a big change in that. However, we've gotten a pretty good draft so far. We got Karlaftis, we got Icky, and then we've also, I believe, got Brandon Smith, who's a hyper-athletic linebacker. Yeah, we did. So pretty happy to see that. Desi's definitely on the board, but I don't think he's to be fair, he's my QB 8. Spoiler alert. Of course, if you guys want to see my QB rankings, I released it yesterday. Today, as of what I'm recording right now, but yesterday. So feel free to watch that. It's a fun watch. I put a lot of time into it, so hopefully you guys do enjoy that. I think continuing to bolster the offensive line wouldn't be a bad idea. And with a guy like Jamari Sawyer on the board, I think that'd be phenomenal. And I think it's the right move for this team. You can use him at guard spot. You can use him at a tackle spot as well. It basically is insurance policy on Ike Ekwonu. And, Jamari could definitely work really well on the interior of this offensive line. So a big addition to this team. Number 68 with the Texans. We went all defensive tackle as well as edge. Let's check on the offensive tackle. I think it was Bernard Raymond. Yeah, so we went Bernard Raymond as well as KT. We could go into that secondary room. Offensive line still is definitely something I would target at this point. And I think a center, where is he? There ain't no way they're disrespecting Jaret Patterson like this unless he decided to return. I might just be blind as shit. But do you guys see Jaret Patterson here? Or am I just blind? I don't see Jaret Patterson. He might have returned. There's no way he returned. That would kill me. Oh, we're going to pause the video right now and we're going to check this out, okay? So be back in a second. Well, that's annoying. Yeah, so he's returning. That hurts me because I want to get a center for this team. Obviously, guys declaring here, guys saying they're going to go back there. It really sucks because he was bona fide my number 2 center in this class. He was heads above my center too. So that is really annoying. Like really annoying because Ricky Stromberg first left to return for one more season. Then now also you got Jaret Patterson doing that. Not a big fan of that at all. So that hurts a bit. But we can definitely look at the best player available. We could also look for a team to trade up here because Isaiah Spiller is he's such a Texans back, isn't he? I mean, oh man. I mean, obviously staying in the state of Texas. I have him comped to Devin Singletary, and that's the only RB comp I've actually made so far, which is actually quite fun. But him, Breece Hall, like you can talk about either one of them. I think Isaiah Spiller fits a little bit more of what you'd be looking for from the Texans. But man, it's a tough call. You guys do whatever you want here. Isaiah Spiller out of Texas A&M is going to be my guy for him. I think he's my RB4, and that's like really close to Zach Charbonnet, like RB4. So yeah, he's like tied RB3 essentially. But Breece Hall, my RB1, and then I have a very intriguing RB2, which I don't think nobody's guessed it yet. So I'm not going to say if I draft him, I'm not going to tell you who he is because nobody's guessed who he was. My RB1, but for the sake of RBBC backs not being as valuable, I put him back to RB2. Jets, I think this could be a good spot to go with something like an edge rusher. You know, you do have guys like Josh Pascal who can play on the edge and on the interior. Freak of nature. Boye Mafe, really fun guy. He's going to test out of this world. He's going to go around this spot. Logan Hall, Cam Thomas, all in this conversation. I think I'm going to go Josh Pascal to this team. Just a much bigger, meatier edge rusher. Can rush from the inside as well. I like that versatility. And for a team like the Jets where you can use him to fill in even as a D tackle, that wouldn't be a bad option. Definitely a unique player out of Kentucky. Somebody who I'd honestly want on my roster, especially if I ran a 3-4, which pretty sure the Jets don't do that, but he definitely can rush off the edge and on the interior. I do love that for a 3rd round pick, especially because you're not going to get immediate starting reps unless you prove yourself. And Josh Pascal's heights, like his high end play, it's like, oh shit, like that guy's good. So Josh Pascal out of Kentucky, definitely worth around this spot. Number 70, we're back with the Jaguars. This would be a good time to bolster that run defense. Let's go Travis Jones out of UConn. Just an absolute physical specimen. Just, ooh, he's a beast. 328 pounds, 13% body fat. Just, you don't see guys built that way. He's a special dude. At 71 for the Bears, this should be a guard spot. Obviously, wide receiver would have been pretty nice. I just don't think it's in this class. I don't think it's very good. We could look at somebody like Thayer Mumford who could play guard and tackle. Man, it sucks. It really sucks not having a guy like Jaret Patterson on the board. It's hitting me like really hard right now. It's like, damn. Because I had a lot of hope for him. Same with Andrew Voorhees. I had a 2nd round grade on Voorhees. Ridiculous. So, because I think that James Daniels is going to be moving on. A guy like Thayer Mumford could be a really good fit for this squad. I'm not a huge fan of him. Oh, it's a weird spot because we've already went corner, which unfortunately I would have loved Marcus Jones to this roster. But I mean, man, like looking at the guys available, we might just have to go after someone like Abraham Lucas or Jackson Kirkland, right? Like, I know, we're gonna go Thayer. I think it's the right move. He's a veteran presence. You're gonna be using him as a guard, but he can play tackle in case of injury, which the Bears usually have injuries. So Thayer Mumford out of the Ohio State University. A good fit for this team that desperately needs extra line help. 72 for the Seahawks. Honestly, they do need edge help, don't they? You know, Cameron Thomas should be in this category out of San Diego State. You know, he's on the West Coast. Definitely somebody I could see on this roster. Zach Harrison, if not mistaken, is returning. So don't know why he's still on here. But I'm gonna go Boye Mafe out of Minnesota. He feels like somebody that Seahawks would love. Hyper athlete. And if you're able to learn from Carlos Dunlap, which is, I mean, Carlos, that's been arguably one of the best trades, like one of the best low-key trades that I've ever seen. Carlos Dunlap's been a big, big, big asset for Seattle. But Boye Mafe, he has all the talent in the world. You just got to make sure he refines it. It's a good spot for him. 73. So I want to see. I think did we take a slot corner for this team yet? So we took Matt Corral, took Daxton Hill. So unfortunately we did. Linebacker is a huge need. I know you guys keep saying it. So I want to get somebody who could actually enforce the run, because running, not 2.0. Darian Beavers is a guy who can rush the passer as well as do some run defense. So definitely somebody who I'd have high on my list. We could see someone like Nakobe Dean or Devin Lloyd being the first round pick. So back-to-back first on linebackers, but this linebacker class isn't too shabby. It's not. Number 74 for the Falcons. So we went Derek Stingley. I think, did we go Majai for this team? Yeah, we went Majai, Derek Stingley, and then Kenneth Walker. That's a good start. Definitely a good start. You could go Desmond Ridder here just to have him as a backup. I don't think that's the right move. I don't. I would definitely look at someone like Perrion Winfrey as a good addition to the squad. It's killing me because I forget which team I wanted to drop him to, but he'd be fun. Getting some extra, like the upside of Perrion Winfrey is ridiculous. I think I have him graded as like a late third, early fourth. But when you see those high-end plays, it's first round. Like I was watching his first game, and my second line that I was writing is, this dude is special. He has some terrible play recognition. Horrible. Like this dude's running this way when the ball's been going that way for the past 10 seconds, right? Does not know what the hell's going on. But 1, with tape study, 2, with experience, and 3, with a mentor, that could be curved a little bit. And at the third round, when you get a guy who has flashes of being D-tackle 1, I think that's worth it. I think it is. Perrion Winfrey to the Falcons. Number 75 for the Broncos. So we have not gotten a slot corner. We have not gotten a slot safety. I love the idea, since we don't even have a boundary corner. Marcus Jones out of Houston. This guy is so good. Again, Kyle Fuller, Bryce Callahan up for contracts this year. Don't know if either of them stay. So I'm going to be going Marcus Jones here. He is a playmaker. Or I forget who said it, but they called him a baller at the cornerback position. The guy is good. He's really good. Can return as well. I mean, Marcus Jones is the real deal. I love him a lot. Big fan of Marcus Jones. Number 76, Kobe Bryant's still on the board too. So, you could do whatever you want. The Ravens. I want to see which edge we took. We took Ojabo, right? And we took Darian Kennard. So we could go after someone with a lot of potential like Tariq Woolen or Kobe Bryant. I think Tariq Woolen has a bit more potential. Or Mikael Wright. Mikael Wright is definitely in this list, just a little bit shorter than someone who's 6'4", right? Interesting. I mean, you could no, I'm not going to be going after another guard at this spot. It's not worth it. We could go after someone like Zachary Carter, who can bolster that interior. It's him or Tariq Woolen. I'm going to go Zachary Carter. You do need to help out on that interior of the edge. He's 280 pounds who can play outside as well. I just love the versatility of Zachary Carter. I'm a huge fan of him. So Zach Carter out of Florida. For his size, he moves incredibly. So cheers to him. Also taking him probably, I might have taken Zachary Carter for the Vikings, who do love their big athletic dudes. This probably should be an edge rusher, someone who can sit and develop. I think Cameron Thomas has all the makings of a nice edge rusher. He just needs to learn from somebody. Heavily overhyped at the moment. Nick Bonito is still on the board. He's not going to be there by 79. Just going to be honest. I know that he's going to be going to the Chargers if we take anybody. He's just so scheme specific. Like he's 230 pounds at 6'2", very thin, hyper scheme specific to be impactful at least. So at this spot, I can see, Jojo Doman. Man, he's fun. He's a safety linebacker hybrid with, I think he has like the third highest coverage grade in college football according to PFF. We're going to go Jojo Doman here as a big riser. Yeah, I like that. For the Chargers, they went Kenyon Green as well as, did they go Trent McDuffie in the last round? I think they did. Trent McDuffie, yes. So I think at this spot, you got to go Nick Bonito. You have to. He could be a first-round pick. Like Nick Bonito's variability on where he's going to be drafted is probably one of the biggest this entire class. Just really unique player that needs to be in the right fit. So at number 80, oof. I mean, for the Texans, I could. I want to go best player available for him. I do. You could go Desi, but I don't. You guys overachieved. You guys don't need that. You could go another. You can go another offensive tackle here with Abraham Lucas, or you can go a guard with Jackson Kirkland. You could. I wouldn't think that's a bad idea. That wouldn't be a terrible idea. Honestly, why not? A corner. Well, to be fair, you have Kobe Bryant on the board. Let's get Kobe. We get Kobe. I think that's the right move. So Kobe Bryant out of Cincinnati, going to be the pick. The Giants are sitting here now, and I think tight end or running back has to be the move. Has to be, and there's some talented guys. Breece Hall, my RB1, it's going to be the pick. I think that's more valuable than tight end ever could be to this roster in the third round. That is Breece Hall out of Iowa State. Really talented guy. I love his vision. Just, I don't know if I've seen many running backs with the vision that he has. He's able to just recognize targets and just go right to them, even if it's totally on the opposite side of where he's supposed to go. Very high IQ right there. I will say he doesn't break tackles very well. People will disagree, and I get that. But when you watch him, his contact balance or not his break tackle, his contact balance is not good. If he gets hit, there's not a good chance that he's going to continue staying on his feet. So that's my big issue with Breece, but honestly, it's going to be a lot better than what this team has. But number 82, we need to get a corner for this team. We do. You got Tariq Woolen here. I think that might be the best bet. Mykael Wright could be a really good corner on this roster, though. I think we're going to stop disrespecting Mykael Wright. I think he's a good guy for this team. Can play man or zone. Just a very solid all-around corner. Leaving the Eagles here, unfortunately, I would have loved to have went like Mykael Wright or Kobe Bryant. Not the case. Tariq Woolen is still on the board, though. He's 6'4". It's tough to not go like someone after like Pritchett. Pritchett might be the better fit for this team, to be honest. Tariq Woolen, though, I mean, it's tough not to be excited about a 6'4" corner, right? 6'4", over 200 pounds. Just a very unique player, to put it simply. Just a very good and unique player. I'm gonna get him. He's gonna be at the Senior Bowl, so definitely somebody to be intrigued with. But yeah, I mean, for the squad, you need to go with Tariq Woolen at this point. 84 for the Steelers. I think we need to go offensive line here. It's like defensive line you could go because we do need help in the run defense. Linebacker even. Offensive line is such a big need, though. Jackson Kirkland probably is going to be the right guy for this team. Abraham Lucas up there, but Jackson Kirkland going to the Steelers. Didn't even get a Senior Bowl invite. That's just really bad. Really bad. 85 for the why did I just blank on the Raiders? For the Raiders, we've gotten wide receiver Jameson Williams, and we've gotten Daniel Faalele, which I thought Abraham Lucas would be a pretty good fit for this squad. Getting some extra help on that defensive front wouldn't be bad. Logan Hall as an interior defensive lineman for this team would not be shabby at all. He plays on the interior. I don't know why it says edge. We're going to go Logan Hall out of Houston here. So definitely intrigued with that. 86. Ooh, the Patriots could go a couple routes here. So I can see them going after someone like Jalen Petrie just because. You could also see him going after someone like Nick Cross, hyper athletic safety. You could also see him going linebacker here. You've got Jack Campbell and Leo Chenal too. Leo Chenal's 260 pounds. It can move really, really differently. Troy Anderson gets a shout out here as well. I don't think he's a third rounder. We're going to go Leo Chenal. He's a redshirt sophomore, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And he just moves really uniquely for his size. Definitely somebody I think you could mold into a starting caliber player. 87 for the Niners. This has to be an edge too, right? You have Brenton Cox still on the board. You can't disrespect him that much. I think Nolan Smith might actually come out. He might. Probably will return just because, again, you're competing with so many guys. There's no way in hell you're going to get drafted that highly. But Brenton Cox could be a good contributor. Slot corner is still an issue. I think Jalen Petrie could be a good addition to the squad. Wide receiver, again, fortunately, I mean, you can go Khalil Shakir. Not a big fan of that one. Unfortunately, yeah, I think that our best bet is to go after Jalen Petrie here out of Baylor. A very solid safety, I must say, a very solid safety who's also a slot corner for Baylor. Can definitely work in with this scheme. And I know that Kayvon Williams has been injury prone. That's been the big issue with him. Got a 1-year contract. So I think Jalen Petrie's the answer long term. Definitely a good selection for the team. 88 with the Cards. I think someone on the offensive line can help. When you look at it, the problem is who's actually here. Ed Ingram's the best guard available. Lacisha Smith is solid, but I like the Mauler mentality of Ed Ingram over Lacisha. You could get Abraham Lucas and kick him into guard. You could. You definitely could. You could also get a tight end, but you could also go interior defensive line. I think Phidarian Mathis stops falling here. He's a guy who's brought a ton of upside, and unfortunately, the injury pushed him down a little bit. The run defense for this team is crap. So I know my boy Red Seat's going to like this. Good old shout out to Corey there, but Phidarian Mathis is going to be the guy. 81 for the Bengals. Who did we go on interior offensive line? When's Zion Johnson, who can play tackle as well. I think that'd be a bright move. Right now, I'm down to Jalen Weidermeyer, Jeremy Rookert, or you can even talk Greg Dulcich here as well, or Abraham Lucas to play also tackle. Because he plays right tackle. He's one of the few true right tackles. And I think he'd be actually a really good addition to this team. The problem is, are you going to go 2 linemen back to back? Or are you going to get a weapon as well? Honestly, with the depth of linemen or the depth of tight end versus linemen, I'm going to go Abraham Lucas here. I think it's a good spot for him to go. The Bills, it's time to get some either running back help or help on the interior. I think Tyler Davis would be a really good addition to this team to add some extra meat in the middle. So we're going to go Tyler Davis here out of Clemson. Definitely love the impact that he'll actually have, because usually interior defensive linemen have an impact no matter what round they're in. Just they're great for situational pass rushing, run stuffing, and making sure your starters are healthy. Tyler Davis has starter upside. Number 91, we're back with the Broncos. So we went Marcus Jones. We could go linebacker. I know that Baron Browning hasn't been doing too shabby, but I'm projecting HTT, Mr. Henry Teoteo, to be able to return. Jack Campbell could be a really good scout. Doesn't he feel like a Bronco? Like, he just feels like a Bronco. We're going to go Jack Campbell here. I think that his addition will definitely be good enough to add in with what you already have. Josie Jewell, Alexander there, and then you also have, I'm bugging on. I said Alexander. Obviously, you got Baron Browning, but forgetting that Alexander Johnson, and then now you have Jack Campbell in that rotation. Jack Campbell was balling this year. Very good linebacker at Iowa. Number 92, this could have been a spot for Jack Campbell too. Honestly, this team could use somebody like that. I think going after, we went after wide receiver. I think we went John Mechie as well as the safety out of Penn State that I don't know why, Jaquan Brisker. Don't even need to look at him. I think this is a good spot to get a guard. Ed Ingram or Lacisha Smith would be a good addition to this team. I think Ed Ingram is the right move, though. Just having that oomph on that offensive line helping out in the run game is the best thing you can ask for with Ed Ingram. So let's do that. Number 93, I think this might be a running back. I really do. I really think this could be a running back. Given the guys on the board, I think a true receiving back would be nice. James Cook out of Georgia is going to go here just after that performance versus Alabama. It's just, yeah. He did good performances back to back in the playoffs. That's going to rise his stock to a 3rd rounder. He is a 3rd rounder to me. He was before the game anyways. So cheers to James Cook right there. Number 94. We're going to go with a very special running back. Honestly, we're going to go Zach Charbonnet here. I think that Leonard Fournette leaves. I do. I think he goes to a team that actually might want him to pay him a little bit more. So Zach Charbonnet is going to be going to Tampa, staying in the warm climate from UCLA, going all the way to Tampa. Number 95, this is a tight end pick to me. I don't know why people are saying like Ryan Griffin's going to be a tight end one. Just not going to happen. It's not. Take Jalen Weidermeyer, who he's a lot better as a receiver overall. He has some hand issues. Like his hands he drops a lot of balls. But overall, I think he's honestly quite solid. He's not the best blocker, but again, you do have other tight ends that can block. So as a situational pass catcher, I think he'd be very solid in this group. Number 96, I think this has to be Jeremy Ruckert here. Has to be. You need a tight end. I mean, Greg Dulcich makes sense, but Ruckert feels a little bit more Green Bay. So Jeremy Ruckert going to Green Bay, definitely a very good blocker who can also pass catch. Seems very similar to what the type of archetype that they're looking for over someone who's more athletic like Greg Dulcich. 97. So he passed on Marcus Jones. Nehemiah Pritchett's still here. I think that's a good option. It's a good option at this point. He's a very talented, very lanky, and athletic corner out of Auburn. Made, I think, one of the final plays in his ball game. So he ended off well. I like that. Number 98. This should be probably Jermaine Waller. I love the VT corners. You could get some extra oomph on your D line. You could. Brenton Cox would be a good situational pass rusher. We could also trade out. Honestly, we haven't done any trades so far. And there are teams that probably want pass rushers. Dolphins, they're not going to go after someone like Brenton Cox. But, I mean, there are teams that probably should want to move up for one. Not seeing many who actually would probably want to move up for one right now. We have 3 picks in a row. Hot damn. Well, in that case, we're going to go Desmond Ridder. I don't like Desi that much. But we're still going to do it because I think that's I mean, Bailey Zapp has just a weak arm. We're going to go Brock Purdy out of Iowa State. I like him the most out of the guys on the board. I do. For this team, Bailey Zappi he's rated higher, but Brock Purdy has just some crazy intangibles. In this pick, I think we're going to go Mario Goodrich out of Clemson. You know, Jermaine Waller or Mario Goodrich. Goodrich has been playing a pretty solid corner role, especially since Darion Kendrick left. So good for Mario. He's been able to hold the fort well enough. Number 100, man, you know what? We're going to go Brenton Cox. We're not going to trade out of this position. Brenton Cox out of Florida, going all picks all the time. Rams, is Abraham Lucas on the board? He's not. So not a fan of anybody else besides Kellen Dyche on the board. Just really not a huge fan. I've heard some good things about Braxton Jones here. That might be the option for this team. But I think center is also a huge issue. And Alec Lindstrom's on the board. There's not really many other offensive linemen at center that at least makes sense anymore. Donovan West, I'm not a huge fan of him. So Alec Lindstrom, I have him as a late third with potential. Exactly what this team should be looking for. For the Ravens, this is another team that could use a center. You know, you could go Donovan West here for sure. But corner might be the most valuable position. Let's see who else is falling. You got Desi here. You could see a team trying to test out their luck with Desmond Ridder. Not seeing many teams that would do that. But with this team, honestly, let's go corner. Let's go after Jermaine Waller out of VT to sit and develop. And that is going to be the way we end off the 3rd round. Let me know what you guys think. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate it as always. See you on the far side. Peace.